Hello and welcome to Learning Economics. We are on our journey to learn data analysis using R. In today's video, we shall learn how to visualize the data in the form of charts and graphs. As you know, the charts and graphs are a very powerful tool to uncover the hidden patterns in the data, to understand more about the data and its basic statistical properties, and to present our data to someone in a more interactive way and help him or her understand it without that much sound knowledge of statistics, mathematics, or economics. Before going on the screen of our studio and doing hands-on practice, I would like to tell you about some of the basic ingredients of visualization data in R. As you know, in R, we need packages to perform various tasks. For data visualization, there are some very popular packages like ggplot2, plotty, leaflet, etc. However, we will work on ggplot2. Once you know it well, it will be easier for you to learn other packages on your own self. ggplot2 comes in a bigger package that is tidyverse. So if you install the tidyverse once, you will have ggplot2 and some other packages that help in better visualization of the data. Now let's try to understand what are the building blocks of data analysis using ggplot2 package. First is geom, Geom. Geom is the short name of geometric object. These geometric objects are used to represent data in various form, that is in form of a point like it is on scattered plot, in the form of any symbol, bars, lines, etc. The next important building block is aesthetic attributes. An aesthetic is a visual property of an object in a plot. It is a connection or mapping between visual feature in the plot and the data. For example, in a scatter plot, aesthetic means what should be presented on x-axis, what should be presented on y-axis, and how the data points will be shown. Remember, each geom or geometric object takes a mapping argument that helps how to plot the data. Aesthetic also includes the size, shape, and color of an object. You can, if you have a data which is divided into various categories, you can show the various categories using various colors, using various symbols, or using various shapes, etc. Last but not the least is the annotate or labels. Through annotation or labels, we can label what should be written on the x-axis, the label on the y-axis, data points label, the title of the chart, the subtitle, the footnote, and everything. We combine all these things using different layers, and layers are placed using plus sign. Don't worry, you just need to understand these basics. Then let's come to our studio screen and see how all these basics work together to create a beautiful looking and attractive and full of information chart or graph. So let's come to the screen of our studio. So here we are on the R Studio screen, and let me show you how to create various graphs. So as I told you that create graph you need packages. There are various packages, but we will be using ggplot2 package. This package comes in a large as a part of one big large size package which is tidyverse. So let's install the tidyverse package first. Installed our packages, and within that I write the tidyverse. Let me tell you that you do not need to install the package every time you use it. If you have ever installed a package once, that will stay in your computer, in your laptop, and R can use it until and unless you uninstall or you change the operating system of your computer, or you change your computer itself. So as I already had it, but just to show you or just to repeat how to install packages, I just did this exercise. And if you also do it again, R will check if all the small packages within this tidyverse package are up to date. If they are, R will not reinstall any of them. But if there is some update version available, then R will reinstall only that small package within this whole tidyverse package. And this goes for all the packages that we will be using. Now we need to bring it to library. This is what you need to do every time. So every time you use any of the package, you need to bring that package into library, and that's why I prefer downloading the larger packages that has various small packages in them, so that I can bring in library that larger package, and all the small packages are already there in the library. So yes, it has brought all this to the library, and I will be using the default dataset that comes along with this package. There are many datasets that come along with this tidyverse package. My purpose is to help you make graphs. Once you are familiar how to make graphs, how to set the graphs, then you can do it on any of the data, on your data that is on the in the CSV file or in the Excel file. Just bring it to RStudio and in its global environment, and do the same on that. So this is here. Let's first view this data. So we will use view penguins, and as we can see that this data has species, islands, and these are character variables. And if we go down a bit, we can see that there are more than one islands. Similarly, there are more than one species. Then build length, build depth, flipper length, body mass, all those are numeric data. Sex, this is another character data, but we see there are more than one values. Years, 2007, 2008, so at least more than one value for the years, and year is a numeric variable over here. So let's see how to create, for example, a scatter plot. So we will start by building layers. The first layer that we will build will just tell what data we are going to use and which package we are going to use. So we are using, uh, just let me bring it there so that you can see, we are using ggplot, and data is penguins. Okay, so now next layer. You know, to make a graph, you need to select a geometric object to that will display the data. And as I already told you that we are first creating a scatter plot, and on the scatter plot, usually the data is shown by the points. So I will use geometric object geom point. Okay. Next, I told you that geom or geometric object is followed by aesthetic. Aesthetic tells what should be on the x-axis, what should be on the y-axis, what color, what shape, etc. should be. and aesthetics are matched with the data through mapping. So we will use mapping equal to aesthetic AES X. Here we can specify which variable to go on the x-axis. Let's say I want flipper underscore length underscore on the x-axis. Similarly, I want body underscore mass underscore g on the y-axis. Let me stop here and make a very simple kind of thing. So let's read the warning message. It says that it has removed two rows containing missing values or the values outside the scale range. That is, those values were either very high or very low, or those were missing values. So here we can see that it has plotted flipper length in millimeters on x-axis and use the variable name as label. Similarly, it has put or plotted body mass in grams on y-axis and used the variable name as label on the y-axis. And these are the points that it has plotted. Now, if I want to make a categorization, for example, I want that these points should be of different color with respect to species. So what I should do, or where I should do it, I should tell the R that I want not only black color points, but I want the different colored points, and the color difference should be based on species. And as you know, that the color, the shape, all are the part of aesthetic. So I need to make this change into aesthetic part of my command. So let me go back to this command. Here is the aesthetic. So after defining what's on the x-axis, what's on the y-axis, I should define that the color should be equal to species. You can define your the color of your choice as well, but I am defining it as per a variable. So, oh, sorry. So let me see let me tell you what mistake I have made. So let me go back to here. Yeah. So if I add species after this bracket, it means I am getting out of the aesthetic and giving some input that is not related to aesthetic. But since my input is related to aesthetic, so I must give it within the aesthetic range, and aesthetic range starts from this bracket and ends at that bracket. So let me go here, comma, and I say color equal to species. And you can note one correction, that if you are putting the right thing at the right place, R will automatically start telling you, do you mean this? And your selection will be a lot easier. So now if I am at this bracket, it says that this bracket is closed, but this bracket is still open, so I need to close that as well. Now it has highlighted that this bracket has also been closed. So here we are. There are three species. It has generated three colors for those three species. Now, if I want that there are male penguins, there are female penguins, and I want to show them with different shapes, but I also want to maintain this color aesthetic as well. So how can I do that? Again, I will go into the aesthetic part and define the color. It's not, sorry, define the shape, how I want to shape my variables. Again, then this is not needed to be added right at the end. You can add it at the start of the aesthetic as well. So wherever you end, wherever you add it, just write, what should I write? Shape, yes, equal to sex. So let's see. Now you can see it has added different shapes according to sex and kept different colors according to the species. That's how you can make more and more and more complex kind of the graph showing various things on a one same graph with very basic and very easier to understand and easier to remember kind of the commands. Now let me do something other. I just do not want to make it a scatter plot graph. I also want to draw a line, and the line must be least square line. So what should I do? Let me go back to very simple part of that graph. Yeah, here we have ggplot data. Then the next here points that I am using geom points. It's mapping. I will add geom underscore smooth. So I am adding a smooth line, and if I hit enter, it will show nothing. Why? Let me tell you. Or let R tell us what mistake we made. It says there is an error in geom smooth, problem with computing stat, error occurred in second layer. Yeah, it's our second layer. Caused by an error in compute layer, start smooth requires following missing aesthetic. As I already told you, that each geom object will require an aesthetic. There are two ways to handle it. First, as we have given aesthetic and geom points, we just copy those and paste it. So we are using the same aesthetic. That is, this is on the x-axis, this is on the y-axis, and there is one thing more, but let me go through it and then I will tell you what's that one more thing. Okay, so it has added a line, but the line is not a least square or trend or a very straight line. Since I did not tell him what kind of the line I want, so it picked on the basis of its own intelligence, on the basis of its own understanding, what will be the best line for my data, and told me that R has used this function to calculate the line. But if I want linear or least square line, I should specify that here. So that is not the part of aesthetics. So once we close the bracket of the aesthetic, we will define it there, or we can define it at the very start as well. So smooth method equal to LM. LM means least square method or linear method. So now my line is linear straight line. Why? As I told you, there are two ways. One, the first way I have shown you, that is, you give aesthetic with every geom object. There is an advantage of it, that is, you can define every geom objects differently, give it different colors, give it different kind of the shapes, you can play with it, but you have to write it again and again and again. The more number of geom objects you add, the more you will have to write it. Another way is to define the aesthetic in the very base layer where we are defining the data. How? Let me show you. I will just copy these aesthetic and put it here. And as I told you, this is the base layer. So if you have defined aesthetics in the base layer, you do not need to define the aesthetic with every geom point unless you are changing something. Since I am not changing the values that are shown on the x-axis, I'm not changing the values that are being shown on the y-axis, so I don't need to add this here. Similarly, I also do not need to add this in geom smooth because it has been added in the base, base layer. See the same graph. Now, let me show you why when it is important to add aesthetic in the base and when it is important to add aesthetic in each object and what difference does it make actually. So let's see, let's say I again want to add different colors to the different points based on the value of the year, or I want different shapes, etc. Let's play with the color first. Now, if I add that point in the static here, I add color equal to year. Now, what will happen? Just think about it. What will happen? I have added an aesthetic in a very base layer. So it will color, it will give different colors to for all the layers that will be built upon it. See how. Oh, again, I have made the same kind of the mistake. I've defined colors separately. This is really something very stupid kind of the mistake that I've made. I'm sorry about it, but because of my screen size on the R, I'm not able to see where this is ending. So I'm just adjusting the size and let's adjust it so that this mistake doesn't happen again and again. So here we are within the aesthetic bracket and here I add color equal to year. Now, this has made different colors on the graph based on the years. Years were 2007, 0.0, 2007.5, 2008.0, 2008.5, 2009.0. Let's make the difference of color as per Iceland. So now you can see it has colored islands differently, and also the same color applies to the lines as well, because here we are describing this aesthetic in the base. So everything that will be built on this base will follow the same aesthetic. It will create different lines based on the islands and give it different color. It will create different colored geometric object or point based on the difference in island and give it different color. But how if I just want a different color in my points but not in the line? What to do? Again, there are two ways doing that. First, the simplest way is that do not give any aesthetic in the base, just define every aesthetic as per its own geometric object. So here I have removed the aesthetic from the base layer and have added it to the geom point geometric object. So my geometric object, for my geometric object, the aesthetics are x-axis flipper line, y-axis body mass, and color is isolate. Now, as I have closed this bracket, so this aesthetic and all this applies to only geom points, not to geom smooth line. And for the geom smooth line, I again define the aesthetics. I do not need the color here, but what I need is the specification of x-axis and y-axis. So I just copy that here and yeah, sorry, I have removed colors from that as well. Let me add colors to that. Make it a slide bigger. Yes. Let me add color as per, let's say, Iceland. Now, different islands are colored differently while creating those points. But while making the line, that difference of Iceland has been ignored. This is one way. Other way, or a bit more complex, but some people find that better. So let me explain it that. Other way is specify what is your generic aesthetic and put it into the layer. And then what is your specific aesthetic? Put that part in that job. How? Let me tell you. So let me go to this. As you can see that my x-axis and y-axis factors are common. Those aesthetic are common for um, point as well as for the smooth line. So I will can move that part of the aesthetic to here, the base layer. I can remove the color part because color is not something common with both jobs. So yes, now I do not need to write it here as well. So I'm removing it from the here too. But I want my points to be of different color with respect to Iceland. But I want my line to remain the same. So for the line, I will do nothing. It will follow the base layers aesthetic. And here I will add another aesthetic. I will write mapping equal to AES, and here I will just add that aesthetic. The color should be of, let's say, Iceland. So it will keep the base layer aesthetic as it is, but it will impose another aesthetic on the top of that. In the same graph you can have. So now I guess you will be more comfortable in understanding uh, how I can play with the base, how can I play with aesthetics while they are in the base, how can I play with the aesthetic while they are with the geom, etc. So I think that will help you draw more. So and now let's add another complexity to it. Let's say that I want to add labels. That is the title, the subtitle, the label on x-axis, the label on y-axis, etc., etc. How I can do that? I can do it by adding another layer of those labels. How? Let's go to the previous command that we just run, or yes, it is the previous command. So we add a layer of labels. We just need to write labs, and you can see R start telling you that you can add title, subtitle, captions, tags, etc., etc., etc. So many things you can add over here. So just see how easy it is. I'm just writing title, and I am writing the title as uh, yeah. So the title is data analysis using R. And since I want it to be shown in the numeric form, so I need to write it into the inverted commas. So this is the title, and the subtitle is actually data visualization. Okay, and then let's say if I want to add caption, I can add that to caption equal to I am writing subscribe to learning economics. Let me see how it looks like now. Okay, so I need to close it over here as well. Yeah, yes. You can see it has added all those things that I asked it to add. Data visualization as a subtitle. Yes, it is there, but why the title is not here? Title should also be here. Oh, sorry, the spelling is missing. Title. Title. The title, the subtitle, and you can see the caption. Using the same label layers, you can also add labels to x-axis as well as to y-axis. But I'm just stopping my work or practice on the scatter plot here. Let's create some other kind of the graphs using some other data. So let me bring the other data, and let's create some bar charts using that data. So I will be working on the diamond data that is also there in this same package. So let's view that data. Always very bad with the spells and this, excuse me. So yes, we have diamond based on the carats, cut, color, clarity, depth, favor, price, X, Y, Z, and so many other categories. So in this data, as you can see, if we focus on the variable carat, we have 23 carat, 21 carat, 29 carat, 39, and other categories. There are cut, ideal cut, premium cut, good cut, very good cut, different categories of the cut. So if I want to make, let's say, bar chart of the cuts, how can I do that? This follows exactly the same way. So I would write ggplot followed by data. This time I'm using diamonds data, and then what I need to do is to define a geometric object. Since I want a bar chart, so I will write down geom bar, and I need to define the aesthetic. So I will use mapping equal to AES, and since I have only one variable to show, that is cut, because bar chart, the frequency automatically goes to the other axis, and only you have to define the x-axis. So I will just define x is equal to cut. Very, very simple. Now, if I want these bars to be cut, to be colored differently as per cut, how can I do that? I can go to the command, go to the aesthetic, and write color equal to cut. What this will do is an important thing to know. It looks similar, but it is not exactly the similar. It has just colored the outline of the bars with different color based upon the cut. But if I want the whole bar to be colored differently, I will use fill. Fill equal to cut, or fill equal to, let's say, whatever I want, it will do so. So now you can see it has filled those bars with different colors. But if I want to fill them as per carat or as per clarity or anything else, let's see how I can do. I am filling it as per carat. Following aesthetic was dropped due to during the statistical transformation, because there was actually there when there are so many small categories in each of them, it fails to read those exactly. So let's try to do this based on the mm, based on its let's say clarity. So we say fill as per clarity. And now you can see that in each of those fair, we have different colors. Ideal, we have different colors. In premium, we have different colors. In all bars are filled with different colors based on the share of the clarity uh, variable that they have. Usually, these characterization are usually done based on some qualitative variable. So when you give some quantitative variable, and that too which has various values, are usually fails to categorize that. So just make some categories and you can do that as per those categories. Similarly, you can add the title, subtitle, all other things using the label layer as we done previously. But I'm stopping this video here and will come back in the next video with some more graphs and some more interactive things that will help us uncover the pattern of the data and will help us present the data in a more useful way. I hope you had enjoyed this session. Do some practice of it. With more and more practice, you will get more familiar with all those things that we are doing, and just try to play with the commands. What if I write aesthetic not this way but in that way? What will happen if I write method, or will not write method? What will happen if I combine more than two geometric objects in a single graph? Just start playing with that. As more and more you will play, more and more you will learn. And just be careful with the spells. I have that weakness, but just excuse me for that. And please do subscribe to our channel and share your feedback in the comment section, and also share these videos with your fellows and friends. Thank you and goodbye.